So I want to talk about this whole concept or theory around the imposter syndrome, and I'm going to speak about it from really two different angles as it relates to it sort of being illusionary in nature, and also why it's okay sometimes to feel like you are an imposter. But that doesn't mean that that's actually what's going on. So let me just share a little bit about what a true imposter is, even as it relates to, let's say, entrepreneurship or being in business. However, since I'm primarily speaking to entrepreneurs, okay, who a lot of times fall into that trap of feeling like they're imposters and they're not good enough to be doing what they're doing, and they're measuring themselves up against, someone else and not staying true to them. So the imposter is definitely one that is showing up in a very unauthentic expression, all right? And most of the time, they're what I call the bootlegpreneurs or the copycatpreneurs, who are definitely going around looking at other people's ideas and then acting as if that's something that has originated with them, not giving credit, to where they actually got the source from of their information or inspiration to start doing a certain thing. So they start passing things off, all right? But even some of the bigger gurus, they do that too. So that's imposter syndrome there too, is because they've scouted out different platforms of maybe some of the obscured brands, so to speak, and because they have the platforms, then they try to pose that as if it's something, of theirs that they've come up with, right? So that is very much imposter syndrome, all right? So the imposter syndrome is not always just about people who maybe feel that, they are not good enough or fake or however, all right? It doesn't just reside there within that experience. But anytime you're not showing up true to you, you're an imposter regardless. And whether you have skills or so, if you are not bringing those skills and true talents to the world, then it's not about you feeling like, oh, I don't have the credibility, I haven't done as much as somebody else. The minute you are not being true, you're already in imposter state of beingness. All right, so let me come to why sometimes that perspective or theory, so to speak, is illusionary in nature, right? Because when you say that you're an imposter, what are you measuring that up against? All right. So I've already told you that there's some people that you deem as highly credible, and because they look successful, and they are imposters as well, okay? And making money off of being imposters. All right. I'm not saying that there's not some truth to what they're doing, just in some of the ways that they show up. It is very much an imposter state of existence, so to speak. But you don't know that because you don't see what's behind the closed doors. You have no idea. All you see is the bling and the glam and the notoriety, the numbers on their platforms and things. And you think, oh, that's it. And then that's what you're actually measuring yourself up against. And you say, well, I don't have this, and I feel like, who am I to be doing this and X, Y, and Z? But it's interesting because people are doing that every day. And you're actually buying into some of those people who you think are being true and authentic, and that's not really the case. So my point in saying that is I'm not really trying to throw shade on anyone, but I'm just saying to those of you who are feeling like you're an imposter that, you're measuring it up against something that you don't know to be true, or you're feeling a ways about yourself that's very unnecessary, okay? Again, if you're not showing up in the fullness of who you are with your gifts and talents to share them in the world, and you know that there's something you should be doing, that's where the imposterness comes in. When you're not being true to what you know you should be doing and who you should be, how you should be exuding yourself at this time to help and serve other people. That I would consider, yes, that's where you're being an imposter. The other part is very much, as I said, illusionary in nature. So I want to actually share also about why sometimes it is okay to feel like an imposter, all right? And maybe present yourself a certain way. Now, as cheesy as this may sound, if you think about the Disney movie that was out many, many years ago, Mulan, okay? So Mulan posed herself as her father, as her father's son. He didn't even have sons. She did that to show up as a man so that her father would not have to go to war. So would that be considered, in a sense, an imposter? Yeah, but she was an imposter, so to speak, for a good cause. She was an imposter so that she could actually change the rules and get some things done. And at the end of the day, and within that, storyline, she is the one who brought the victory, all right? And so, yeah, did she have to do something unconventional? Did she have to lie a little bit or whatever to get, it was a great cause. Because if not, the war would not have been won. And sometimes there's going to be some unconventional ways, uninstitutionalized ways in how that happens. So you have to look at, too, if you feel like you're an imposter to some extent, ask yourself, but, okay, why do I feel that way? And is some of what I may be presenting that doesn't feel true and fully authentic at this moment, first of all, is it really not authentic just because there's a presentation of this, and what's the cause behind it? And I want to say this, all right, especially for some of you who are pioneers and you have a grander mission. Just because people have not bought into your mission yet, and you're showing up in the fullness of who you are and telling things the way that it should be or whatever, that doesn't make you an imposter just because they have not fully caught on to that yet. That has zero to do with the price of tea in China. And keep doing your thing, all right? And because you'll be the one at the end of the day that's the overtaker. Maybe you seem like the underdog, the obscured brand in a sense. And maybe you feel like you're an imposter, but it's an illusion because you're actually not. And if you don't actually stand up and tell the truth according to what you've been called to do, that may be ruffling some feathers or so, and you may not be the person who's in the limelight at this point. But it's never really about getting to the limelight in a sense. It's that when you are true to you, it's impossible for you to be an imposter, whether or not the world or whomever, many are buying into that yet. Because there's a group for you that you're here to serve, and those are going to be the ones who gravitate to you. So again, I'm not saying don't lie about different things, but don't get yourself twisted in terms of thinking that I'm not really who I say I am because I don't have all of these different things. Again, who are you measuring yourself up against? If you're here to change the rules, throw their measurements out of the window because that stuff is old paradigm anyway. But don't be afraid to show up in the truth of who you are, the truth of that expression, because that's what the true authenticity is. If you're doing anything less than that and you're holding back, that again is where you are an imposter. But it's not in the sense in which people think that it is. Trust me, you have more. You're built for this, all right? And trust me, you have a lot more to offer to the world and show up in a way than what you're giving yourself credit for. And here's the thing. All it is about making shifts in the way that you think, all right? And the way you see things. Because you may think that you're an imposter, again, based on what? Again, the criteria and all these different things. It's just to keep you just in a funk and a loop and delusions. But that's a whole nother training and conversation that I can have. And trust me, I've had them. And I don't have a problem having more. But the thing about it is this. You know something that one other person doesn't know. So even if you are the one up on somebody expert, that is not an imposter. And it's okay to show up in the fullness of your authority, even if it is for that one person who does not know what you know. If you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 steps or 7 steps ahead of them, you're an expert to that group. But again, even if you're just one, or even if you're on the journey of getting somewhere, then share it from that place. I haven't arrived at this yet, but here's the journey I'm on. And as I'm on this journey, I want to invite other people to be on that, with me. We can do this together, So there's different ways that you can show up. But stop kidding yourself. Stop lying to yourself, thinking that, oh, I'm an imposter. I'm not good enough. You better stop measuring yourself up against these templates that are doomed to help you fail. And the reason why you're actually not getting anywhere is a lot of times because you're trying to follow those models. Those models, first of all, a lot of them are outdated. Secondly, they're not even true. And so that's the thing. You're looking at what you think is true and thinking, oh, this is it, and comparing yourself to that, and it's all a smoke screen. It's all smoke screen. So that's the thing. If you feel like an imposter right now, then that's okay. Just say, you're Mulan, all right? Again, that may be cheesy, but you tell yourself some lies anyway. You might as well make that believable in a sense, all right? At least it's got a positive outcome that you can actually try to leverage and just say, I'm not lying, so to speak, but maybe I'm not as large as I want somebody to think I am. But guess what? The thing about it, I have a good, strong cause for why this is. But again, I wouldn't even go that far because I believe, like I said, everyone's here for someone. And you're as big as you need to be right now, all right? And it's really not about being big. That's the thing. That's the illusion too. And if you're buying into that, you're selling yourself short, all right? Don't do that. But it's okay to feel like an imposter sometimes, but just again, know that you're not, and stop measuring yourself up against these mirrors or these illusions that have you thinking, this is it, this is the thing. Trust me, behind the scenes, I know it all. It all looks really cosmetically nice, but trust me, some of the bigger people, this, that, and that, they're struggling in ways that you don't even want to even begin to know. Okay, you would feel bad for them, and with them still having to show up as if there's something really going on, and it's really not that deep. But again, I wouldn't necessarily say that too they are imposters, in a sense, because they have built themselves up a certain way, and they do need to still carry on a certain way, but there are times where they are definitely being inauthentic in terms of numbers and, and all these different things that they don't have to illuminate it or share it, in that way. But again, I'm not here to throw shade on anybody. I'm here to tell those of you who feel like you are an imposter that you're not, okay? And like I said, the ones who aren't really feeling like imposters are actually the ones who actually are, all right? So if that helps you any, let that serve you in some ways. But yeah, just remember, you're here for a reason, and there's a crowd of people for you. Sometimes it may be a very small crowd, and you're there to make an impact and an income right in that space. And you be the star within that space, or you be the illuminate self within that space. But the thing about it is, be true to who you are. Anytime, as I mentioned before, anytime you're being less than being true to who you are, that is where the imposter lies. Not in I'm presenting a website this way and I'm really not this way or whatever. Again, who are you here for at this point? Because somebody thinks that you're great and you are a top expert, and you actually are. But if you keep kidding yourself and you keep measuring yourself, you're not going to align with what it is that you need and the people that you are really here for. You won't even be visible to them because you're not being visible to yourself first. They won't even get on your same frequency because you haven't aligned accurately with that which is true for you. So stop it. If you're telling yourself, stop with this imposter stuff. Because trust me, it's not what you think it is. All right? Just stop measuring yourself up against other people. You need to be present and find out what is true for you. And from there, share from that truth. Because somebody needs you on the level that you are on. And here's the deal. Sometimes if you're too big in the limelight a certain way, there are some people who shy away from that. They may be intimidated by that because maybe they want somebody who's really down to earth at this point, somebody that's really relatable in a sense. And you may be the one that they can connect with. So again, stop, time out with this imposter stuff, because you're not one. And to me, I'm going to say that if you feel like you're one at this point, and I know that you have a good cause or whatever, ride that thing out. Be Mulan, because at the end of the day, you'll be the one who, I don't say is the savior, so to speak, but you definitely will be the one who's been the pioneer to bring something forth. So I just also want to say, too, that I do have a publication about discovering your chief cornerstone branding factor and how you overcome the rejection of being a pioneer so that you become a requirement to your industry or in the marketplace. And I'll have a link, for that publication below. But again, I just want to encourage you. This was kind of inspired because I've, heard a few people definitely talking about how they don't feel, true to form. And then they were asking me, have I ever felt this way before? Different things like that. And again, people looking, they try to measure up and think, oh, well, I'm not like you, or you know, this, that, and that, and I learned from you, or this, and then I feel like if I say this, that, and that, it's not really real for me, or this, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be real for you, but you have to find out what is real for you. You can still learn from people, and definitely there are models out there, but you really do need to find out what's true for you, because anytime you're trying to duplicate or replicate somebody else, that's the imposter right there. And so, like, even like with my branding is unique to me. And so you don't look out across the market and see anybody else in that format, because that's unique to me, according to my unique divine encoding. So I didn't even teach people how to actually do this, not on this scale, because it would not be true to them. I teach them what's going to be required for moving forward in this new era of change and different dynamics within the marketplace, but they have to find out what's going to be true to them. Anytime you're not being true to you, you're an imposter. Anytime you're going off this cookie cutter format system, you are then being an imposter. Again, busting the myth around that today, and that's the whole illusion in terms of that. We're sitting here, you got greatness. You have greatness that needs to be in the world, needs to be in the marketplace right now. How dare you, and I'm saying it, how dare you think less of yourself? How dare you compare yourself to other people when you are built to be unique? You have more in you than you can imagine, and you need to let that out. There's different levels of audiences that you're here to serve. And if you're not being in that type of trajectory of understanding, that is where the falsehood lies. So maybe I've stung you a little bit, but it should be okay, because it's the truth. Just keep showing up, right? And I don't mean that in a very cliche way. You definitely find the alignment, but stop thinking that you're not true to form because you're not looking like everybody else or sounding like everybody else. And I tell them, please don't compare yourself to me. That, you know, that's on a whole completely different, that's on a whole nother scale. That's unconventional. But I've had a journey to get to this point, all right? And I do know what it feels like to kind of have that feeling, but I really suspended that a long time ago. I never really bought into that because I knew I was here to do something different, and you are too. And those that resonate with me, that know that they have a connection to their greater gifts that need to come forth, you're going to be here. So again, according to that false template, you may feel like an imposter. Stop it. Don't even reference that template. All right? If you're 1 or 2 steps ahead of somebody, get out and share it from that place. But besides that, you have higher levels that need to come forth. And you're not being true to yourself, again, when you're not allowing that to come forth. So that's what you need to do. So take some time out, get present, and pray about it. Ask, where do I need to show up? Who needs my authentic expression during this time? And if I'm feeling like an imposter, what is that feeling about? Because is it really real? Or is there a deeper message about that? Or do I need to go and champion some other people who maybe feel that way and tell them that's not true? After you hear this, share this message with them. Or again, share from your own place of authenticity. And just say, I've been inspired. I thought I was an imposter. I looked at it from a different vantage point. I'm not that. You need to know that's you're not one either. And let's together decide how we're going to show up, collaborate or whatever, individually, collectively, however, we're going to decide how we're going to come together and then change the world on the levels that we're here to change the world. So I'm going on. I didn't realize I was going to break off into kind of a sermon. But I really felt that it was necessary. So I'm just allowing the guidance to flow through me to communicate to you what you need to hear. You are not an imposter. You're not an imposter. You're here to make a difference, but the only thing now is that you have to realize that the way you're going to bring it about may be completely different than what everybody else says, and so you're going to stop today. It may not be the easiest thing to do, but this is a start. You're going to stop today comparing yourself to others, all right? From this moment forward, you better say this to yourself. I am aligning. Now, here's where you can speak it. I am aligned with the tribe that I am here to deliver my unique gifts to, all right? You can call it an affirmation, however you want to, But see, that there's something about that that's true for you, even if you feel like you're not in that place. That's how you align. There is a part of you that's already there. That's why I operate in dimensions of myself. I'm not subject to one level of me when I already know there are other levels of me that are way beyond what I may be presenting in some cases. It is true for you. For me, I just choose to show up in all types of formats of myself, but I am saying this so that you can understand. There's already a part of you that is wanting to mentor the parts of you that maybe don't feel synced up with that truth. But again, it's an illusion because it exists within you, and you just need to be present with that part of you, and it will give you that wisdom and insight of how to move forward. It's time to do this. Forget that other stuff, all right? Forget it. You're not an imposter. So, for all you Mulans out there, go ahead and save China, all right? Not literally, but you know what I mean. Go ahead and be who you're supposed to be. And again, I'll have a link to that publication below. And hopefully that will, help you to be inspired and to be empowered. All right? So I'll be back with more messages, even of this nature, real soon. Take care.